Hello and welcome to the A New Day Show. I am your host, Daphne Clarke-Hudson, and I'm extremely excited about this episode today. Sitting here with me is an amazing woman who is doing some great work here in our community, and her name is Joyce Lee Roglin, and she is a certified Kripalu Yoga instructor. Joyce, welcome to the A New Day Show.
Thank you very much.
Would you take a few minutes and just introduce yourself to the listeners? Tell them who you are and also explain to them what is a Kripalu Yoga.
Well, my name is Joyce Roglin. I currently live in Newtown. I have a family of 3 children. One is gone and living on his own. So 2 children still. And about a few years ago, after leaving work in Wall Street, I committed myself to being with the children for about 8 years, full-time mom, soccer, and at the school. And then I said, now it's time for me to create my own identity, to go forward, and to start doing it part-time. And I said, what do I really truly want to do? Going back to work. So do you want to travel? Do you want to do 9 to 5? Do you want to have, and looking at the lifestyle. And I turn back in terms of over the last 10 years, I've been taking yoga. And I reflect back on all the yoga teachers I've had in various places. And I decided that's what I want to do, become a yoga instructor. So I went to Kripalu Institute in Lenox, Massachusetts. And Kripalu's style of yoga is Hatha yoga, where there's an emphasis on breathing, stretching, and strengthening. And it's a slower to cleanse out your body, very organic. And I immersed myself in their 200 hours of certification, and it was a wonderful experience, very life-changing, because I met wonderful students that we immersed and we lived with each other for 30 days, no family. And it was a learning experience about myself in terms of how I wanted to attain something and work, where you're going back to school when you're a lot older now and your brain is not working as fast. So it was very challenging but very rewarding. And also strengthening your body to do a lot of physical poses, but also learning about yourself in a very deep, going down all the layers of also exploring yourself.
You know, being an adult learner myself, there is something that sets us apart from the younger generation. Because I know for myself, and maybe you affirm that as well, is that when we're in the classroom and a professor tells us something, I know for me, I quickly refer to my life experience and see how I can coordinate what my professor is saying with my experience. And I always come up with an excellent answer. And I know it always gives us higher grades because we have it down pat, because we are collaborating the life experience with what we are learning now. And that's what set adult learners apart. I have colleagues who are so devoted to yoga. And as I converse with the ones who are really excelling in their careers, they have a great commitment to the practice of yoga because it keeps them balanced, it keeps them focused, it keeps them empowered and devoted. As you look over your practice of yoga and with the people you work with, do you see some of those qualities in them as well?
Oh, absolutely. Through the yoga, I feel that I'm pouring my heart out when I'm teaching. Because as people with their regular activities that they have to do with work and childcare, and maybe managing their older parents. I find that a lot of people are juggling and very stressed out during the last 5 to 7 years. And when they make up their mind to go to work out in one form or another, maybe yoga is not the first, because they don't want to take care of themselves first on a mental level. So when they find that they're doing their running and their biking and all the other activities, they're saying that there's something's missing.
Exactly.
Somehow they get introduced to yoga and they feel very peaceful, because the yoga instructor will say to them, this is a non-judgmental form of activity. And also it will recharge you, and you're also giving yourself permission to choose what level of intensity you want to do. And usually people now don't give themselves permission to stop.
That's right. It's always, people are always looking to outside sources and forces to give permission. And, you know, we have all the answers here. You know, the universe is so faithful to us, and it's always going to give us that which we request of it. But I find out as human beings, we tend to go to other people versus our inner self to find those answers. And we all have the answers inside, but we refuse to tap into them. So I was excited when we met and we started conversing, and I saw so much of myself in you, and to see that we are both doing what we do to empower and transform the lives of people. So I just want to commend you on doing that kind of a work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you find that male or female, which gender is more committed to the practice of yoga, if there is one that stands out more than the other?
I think it's very hard when you just say one gender. I think with the male dominant, where they tend to go to work, they work their 8 to 12 hours a day, and I think the number one priority is their children. They want to see their children first, and the second is then they're going to iron out, you know, they're going to squeeze out whatever personal they choose, whatever activity they choose. So it may not be yoga the first thing. It may be going out and being with a friend just to have some time together, and or they may just go to the gym and kick out 1 hour. And it's to them, they quantify that timing. Whereas I find that with my female student, and again, various ages, anywhere from age 20 all the way to 80 plus.
Beautiful.
These women come and they are strong women in mind or body.
Beautiful.
Or they find that there's peace in it, and they carve out that piece of yoga to give them that peace. Because I think there's a lot of chatter in the mind.
Of course there is. It's like meditation. You know, I used to go to a meditation class in Brookfield, and there's some people that used to come, and they just could not focus on it, because they said, oh, there's so much going on in my mind, and they found it challenging to really quiet that. And I know nothing happens overnight, but you just have to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. And gradually, you are going to be at peace with that which you need to do. What are some techniques that you apply to quiet the chatter in the mind?
Well, the first technique that we would focus on is first get yourself settled on the mat. Find yourself a nice, beautiful, comfortable room, either facing the sun or something that's pleasant in the room. And then second, you find yourself your mat, and you may put a pillow underneath, so sitting comfortably will be good if you're sitting there for 5 minutes or all the way up to 20 minutes. But starting out, it may just be 1 minute of meditation. Then number two, if you need to, you always have props. Again, like I said, a pillow. And then as you start, you start using techniques like breathing. That is the first thing of important when you do yoga, because in exercising, if you don't breathe, the oxygen is not filling up your lungs, and it's not going throughout your body and into your cells to create the health and the recovery in your body. Yoga is not about just an activity or a sport. It is a natural way of healing your mind and body and detoxing and massaging internally your organs.
Yeah, and you know, I'm excited that we're talking about the breathing, because we as a nation, we are not breathing to half of the capacity that we can breathe. We all are breathing so shallow. You know, it's very rarely you encounter maybe people like yourself who are practicing this yoga practices. You know about it and you do it, and you probably instill the same practices in your family members. But as a nation and as a community, we are just not breathing properly. Have you found that to be true? Or?
I think people just automatically stop breathing, even if as simple as coming to a red light. Or that phone call comes in at an unusual hour, they stop breathing. So it's just mechanical how our body responds. Through yoga, all it is an awareness. We go through it, we all do it. You can't help it.
That's right.
But you catch yourself and you say, I can breathe.
Yes.
And if you have any stressful situation, you step back and you allow yourself to take a few moments to compose yourself and breathe it out.
And you find out once you begin to breathe, you alleviate the anxiety and you become peaceful and centered. And now you're positioned to make a decision because you are getting more clarity. How does nutrition and yoga partner? Do you find that that's a partner made in heaven, if you may?
Well, first of all, people go for some activities where they know it's just being out and breathing. They say it's at least 30 minutes, 6 days a week is the amount of activity that you need to have a healthy lifestyle. Now, how do you break it down? Well, some people may do yoga, people may do biking and running, but through yoga they have various intensities. So you can start out very gentle, and if you choose to be more aggressive, then you can choose a more vigorous style of yoga. And then through yoga, it's not the one all be all. You need to incorporate good eating habits. And eating habits right now, I think nowadays, I think people are becoming more selective and becoming aware of what they're putting into their mouth. And if you're looking at even just pure organic or looking at the farm stands, you really have to question how long has that vegetable or that fruit has been traveling across the country or maybe in the next town.
And you know, that's why I'm such an avid supporter of the local farms, because I admire the French culture. They shop, they eat. I have a few friends from France, and they explain to me, we don't store food in the refrigerator. We go to the market or to the farm stand. We buy what we want to consume today. So it is fresh, everything that we do. And I pray and I say, I wish we could do that here. We have, in some areas, we have the option to do that, but we choose not to. And as you say, these things have been traveling from different countries or different region. Before it get here, it is so beat up and everything. So when you think you're picking up something fresh, it is already been traveling for 2 weeks to get to you. Now, let us look at someone who is probably experiencing arthritis, and they're listening to this show and they say, oh, I would like some peace and I would like to practice Kripalu Yoga. Is that something that you recommend for somebody who has maybe had arthritis or anything like that?
Well, usually when you have some kind of inflammation, and again, arthritis will eventually come on as we get older because it's from use. But I think as we get older, we have to start becoming aware that it's the onset of arthritis, so you might have to back off, and instead of keeping that strong pace of that activity. So when you go through yoga, what will happen is that you, instead of backing off and saying, I have pain in my foot or my knee, let me not do anything. Well, what you should do is you should find other activities to strengthen the muscles around the knee, and because you still need movement.
Exactly.
You still need movement. Otherwise, if you have movement as you get age, you're not going to be able to walk.
That's right. And you touch on a very important point, and it's about inflammation, because majority of the ailments that we encounter in our body is caused by inflammation. And if we watch what we put in our mouths, there are lots of foods that we can eat that will keep our bodies inflammation free. Again, we got to go out there and search, because nobody's coming knocking at your door to tell you, hey, eat this, eat that. Don't eat this and don't eat that. So you got to love you enough to go out there and find this information. Read the labels of what you're buying. Know what each food is doing for your body. And this way, what they say, each one tell one, so you can tell somebody else. Do you find out that majority of the people you see, when they come to you, they are learning about their nutritional practices as well as the yoga, or they come to you already well informed about that?
Well, I think everybody has an interest in it, but the thing is, I am so passionate about it, I'm just bringing it to their attention, and
That's
it's an
right.
exchange of information.
Yeah.
So I think whoever your community is, you find out information and pass it to your neighbor, or if your neighbor has information, you ask them what's going on.
Exactly.
It's always an exchange of information, and
Exactly.
I think the information is very powerful, because everybody thinks that whatever you're buying at the local pharmacy, whatever's on the shelves, it's automatically the FDA approved, and it's not. Supplements are not approved by the government.
That's right. That's right. So you got to go out there and you got to educate yourself about all of this. You mentioned about your practicing yoga, and that was just a lifestyle that you got involved with while you were raising your children. And now you're almost an empty nester. You're getting there. What made you have this great passion and desire to want to help to empower others to do the same for their lives, so they can experience the lifestyle that you have been experiencing all these years, Joyce?
Well, going back many years ago, I was very fortunate. I had a very wonderful career on Wall Street. And we lived in New York, and then eventually moved to New Jersey, and eventually got to Connecticut. But after we moved here, I didn't know that my commute was going to be 5 hours round trip a day, and with young children.
Wow.
And then after 9/11, I said, I think it's about time for me to open my eyes and see what I have. I have a beautiful family, I have a wonderful husband, I have a great community. Why am I just working myself to death?
Wow.
So, but on the same token, at the time when I was working on Wall Street, my clientele was empowering women business owners. And at that time, I had my mother join me in my firm, and we became the first mother-daughter Asian team
Beautiful.
to educate in the Asian community.
Wonderful.
So that was a wonderful opportunity for my mother and I to come together, educate the community, and have them understand how to invest.
Wonderful.
Then eventually I left, and then when I came to Connecticut, when I eventually decided I wanted to career, I said, I want to empower people. What is out there? And I don't want anything sexy. I wanted something that was real. And I said the empowerment is to allow people to hear themselves, to say they have choices of doing whatever they need to do relative to their environment and their family. So through yoga, I'm empowering men and women to allow them to give themselves the choice of saying, taking care of themselves. And I just like going to work, I say to them, open your book and say, next week you're going to put in that you're doing yoga next week with me at 5:30. It's 1 hour, and it's going to be, and it's going to be actually healthy and cleansing out your body. And then after they finish the session, they are totally released and cleansed. It's like a new person.
And I like that, because I am sure what is also happening is that as these people begin to give themselves permission for the yoga to help them, all of a sudden they are going to be getting their aha moments where in their career or jobs or whatever they're doing for themselves, I can give myself permission to do X, Y, Z. I don't necessarily need to go look somewhere else. I'm empowered to get that result. So it's all connected. People probably look at it and think it's not directly connected. But indirectly, it's one thing, because as you begin to empower yourself, all of a sudden you begin to evolve, you evolve, and you figure, oh, I don't need that person's permission. I can create the result that I want. What would you say, if you can, what's your greatest success with yoga since you began doing it?
I think my greatest success is the people that come into my class, that I watch, I witness new people coming in, and again, all different body types. And as we walk through, and as we go through the class, and we finally finish, and we end with the last final 5 minutes of Shavasana, where they totally lay down, they decompress, feel comfort in their body and their mind, and they release themselves, and I give them a little massage around the neck and the forehead, and they are totally at peace. And sometimes people have that moment where they get very overwhelmed. It becomes a very emotional part because layers go down. Part of my very important words that I say is, if it serves no purpose in your body because we're gripping, let this opportunity, give yourself that opportunity to let it go now.
Give yourself permission to let it go. And that is powerful. And as powerful as it is challenging for especially women to do, because we like to hoard stuff, whether it is advantageous to us or not. We like to hoard stuff and to hold on. So for a woman to hear about, to give yourself permission to let that thing go, that's not really serving you well. It's challenging. You find it, that to be so with your female
Yes, I
clients?
think so. Women have been, I don't want to say trained, it just programmed where they are last. They are supposed to be the caretakers for their children, their husband, and like I said, we're multitaskers. Where did that come from? Women are known to be able to do everything. And you know what, not only that, they're still with a smile.
Yes.
But the last thing is they don't give themselves that time to themselves. So this way, if they don't give time to them, whether it's an hour a day or an hour a week, if they don't do that, then the frustration comes in. And then that serves no purpose for them because they're not going to be good for their family and their children and to themselves, and that's when they get sick.
Yeah, and they've been doing it for so long. So when you bring it to the forefront of their minds to give themselves permission to let it go, they're thinking, what is she talking about? This has been my crutch for so long. How can I? I'm going to be empty without it. How can I let it go? And when they really come to the decision to let it go, I can't imagine the relief that they are experiencing. And I'm sure that alone would be worth the class for them. If nothing else has happened, that would be a good thing for them.
Well, the body is tight. Do you know that when you don't breathe and when you don't let things go, you start rounding out. Your posture rounds out. And then you have, your muscles gets frozen. And then once you start releasing your breathing, you start expanding, your heart comes out, and even the coloring in your face changes. Your posture is very important because if you have good posture, you can free yourself and be extra 5 years younger.
Exactly. But you know, this is such a challenge to get that education out there to people. And as I say in my work of transformation and empowerment, if I get one person that gets the message, I count my job complete, because that one is going to tell somebody else, because we can't really concentrate on the masses. We have to find that one soul who say, I get it, and I want to thank you. Does spirituality plays any role in your work, Joyce?
Yes, through yoga, since it's embedded over 5,000 years ago in India. A lot of the names in there are Sanskrit, and again, through years of training yourself, going back to school, a yoga teacher is always encouraged to go back to being a student. It's not just doing postures, because as you're doing your classes, you're reaching out to people. People are just totally surrendering to you, and you can select your words very particular and plant the positive seed in them. And your words, they are looking for your words. They're opening up to you. So it's very important that you find the right yoga instructor and style for you. So don't get turned off.
Okay, we are down to 5 minutes, and I say I got to extend an invitation to you to come back. Maybe we'll do a live call and have people call in with their questions, and maybe you'll have us in here doing some yoga. But I want to commend you and the amazing work that you're doing. I can't wait to experience your session. But I want you to take 2 minutes and just like summarize what you have said. What do you want to leave the viewers with? If you look in that camera and just give them a message about what you want to leave them with.
I truly believe that we as individuals need to be strong, reach out, and don't cave in. Now is the time that you need to help yourself to be strong. And through help, that means going out to get some kind of physical activity, going out to take a walk. But of course, I'm going to be passionate about yoga because it serves many purposes. It helps you clean out and flush out all the toxicities in your body. It gives you mental clarity. It re-energizes your body. And then also you're strengthening and stretching all body parts. Everything is on. And then when you clean yourself out and detox physically, your body will be healthier. You'll be having less chronic disease and incorporating eating good food. All that positive energy and good persona will pass out to your children, your family, and your community. So I think that in this point, does it cost a lot to do that? No. It may only, you can find your local YMCA, ask around who's a good instructor and try it. Some places may even encourage you to go and they will give you a free session. So try yoga.
All right. Well, Joyce, I want to thank you for coming, and I look forward to having you back again and continue doing the work.
Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Namaste.
I also want to say thanks to Mr. Richard Raymond for this beautiful news desk that I get to use again. I feel so blessed every time I sit here. So, Richard, thank you. Rich, thank you for the desk. And I can't wait to have you on the #1 team here at Comcast to be one of the volunteers. I hope that this episode has helped you to empower yourself and that we will get some calls in telling us the difference that this has made in your life. And remember that you were created for greatness. And the only way you can do that is by taking care of yourself, enhance your lifestyle. If it is to be, it is up to you. See you next time on the A New Day Show.